You know, there is an elephant in the room here, okay? And it absolutely boggles my mind. Now, I say that the media is in the tank for Trump. Almost across the board. There's very few even anchors at MSNBC and like NBC News. There's very few anchors who are the voice of reason right now. And even they don't know how to defend truth because they were not prepared. And this whole thing proves one thing, that the Cold War never ended. Okay, but that's not the elephant in the room. Oh, that's a 400-pound fucking gorilla that's gonna beat the shit out of all of you if you don't wake the fuck up to it. Not that the Cold War has been reignited, my little puppies. Okay? The Cold War never ended. The collapse of the Soviet Union was designed to cause these effects. Okay? Islamic extremism, for instance, was a telegraphed blow. Okay? And in fact, if you look into the telegraphing of that blow, you'll find they telegraphed the collapse too. Then they set up in 1991 a cult in the mountains where you cannot see. And now I hear the thoughts, by the way. The finger's been pointed at me for trying to save America. Look up the definition of a cult. That definition exists to prove the difference between me and Bessarion. Between me and pick a fucking moron. Okay? There is no pretense here. Or do I need to repeat the sentence I just made? Speaking of hearing thoughts, some people have been reading into me saying I've calculated. Of course I calculate. You owe your existence to my calculation ability. Jeez. Don't pretend I'm asking anything in return from you people. You know, other than love your neighbor, that kind of thing. Just not lest you be judged. Now, whenever your soul decides to move on, then we're going to have some dealings. See, I'm patient. And speaking of patience, there is an entirely patient people who are starting to really wonder what the fuck is going on here. Because for the first time in U.S. presidential election history, the elephant in the room that no one seems to be able to even mention is Israel. Now, I used to be pro-Palestinian. I used to really not like Israel, especially under the butcher, Ariel Sharon. Yeah, that's him. I just forgot. Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm not a big fan either. I think he colluded with Wolf Blitzer in order to basically gradually due to the CIA. And um, but to a certain extent, I think, in retrospect, I think that he was tricked by Wolf Blitzer. Because Wolf Blitzer is a false Jew. Okay? He is a destroyer. You can think that you know better than me. You can think I've made assumptions. You simply lack the data capacity. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm desperately pleading with people. For the first time in U.S. presidential election history, nobody's been talking about Israel on the news. Nobody's been asking the candidates if they support Israel. But you see, that's because why? The liberals don't want to piss off the Muslims, right? But why aren't the conservatives bringing it up? They want to save you from the Muslims, right? Right? Donald Trump's going to save you from the Muslims, right? Donald the Mongol. I can't even make my Aryan face as Chinese looking as his. And, no offense to the Chinese people, they were nearly installed, have been partially enslaved by the Mongols for a very long time. And I'm not talking about Mongolians, don't get me twisted. I'm talking about Khazarians, because they were the true root of the horde. If you look at Genghis Khan's life story himself, he was a slave. Genghis Khan was a servant. Just look at his fucking what historians will read to you and tell you something else. Okay? You can read it for yourself and draw your own fucking conclusion based on a greater understanding of history. I have schools of clownfish to stare at, if you're wondering why I keep looking over there. I got two, well, I can't call them two mated pairs because my and Bob have been fighting, but they're not a very happy couple. They're maroons. What the fuck do you expect? Anyways, but I have about 100 baby perculas and 2 little 10-gallon tanks and a tub. And then I got babies in the corner up here and then on top of this tank. So that's what I'm staring at when I look over this way. And then my TV's on. It's paused on Michael Moore making kind of this face. Now, I really didn't know what to think about Michael Moore before he got on the media. And I still don't know what to think about him. But let's just say the idea that those who helped communism spread, when fascism reveals itself as communism's true form, they would be, quote, lined up against the wall and shot. That's a hell of a prospect for someone like Michael Moore to face. So Obama tells men, look inside yourself before voting on Rachel Maddow official channel. Turn that off so it stops distracting me. But he's looked inside himself, hasn't he? Come to think of it. Ain't that a bitch. Now, a simple way to prove that I'm smarter than anybody who supports Trump. Okay, and you don't have to be very smart to be smarter than most people who support Trump, but even the most intellectual Trump supporter falls to a dead fucking halt in front of me, okay? And here's why. Trump's gonna save you from the Muslims, right? From Islamic extremism. Okay. Because that's what it is. It's Islamic extremism. Okay. You can go back and find out what the Catholics and the Byzantines did to Christianity. Okay. And while Islamic kingdom expansion completely twisted the words and the stories of John of Damascus to cover up a female-based religion. John of Damascus. Yeah, look up the writings of John of Damascus. Look up the works that he had access to. If they raided his household, for instance, and got his entire collection, which they did, that would be how the Quran was written. In truth, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but there is an ancient religion that is rooted in Hebraic so-called Judaism. No, Judaism. Judaism was one tribe. Judea. Jews. Judah. Tribe of Judah. Okay, a 12th. Okay, you're attributing all of Hebraic religion to the 12th that sold their souls in order to survive. Okay, that's the truth of it. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. That's not the point that proves that Donald Trump supporters are in complete denial of reality. Okay? Donald Trump's going to save you from Muslims. Okay? Now, take in mind my claim that Putin, the royal elite of Russia, the secret kingdom, okay? The Kremlin is a mosque for a reason. If anybody's a secret Muslim, it's the one who actually started the secret Muslim conspiracies about Obama. One whose soul is consumed by lies, accuses people of what they are guilty of. Putin acts like a Muslim. He has it. No, excuse me. He acts like an Islamic extremist. Okay, from the bigoted perspective that you get drawn into online. Well, it's not really the reason either. In short, one word. One word is all the proof I need. It's not just the elephant in the room, Israel. It's something about that elephant in the room. Something about Mr. Drumpf. Oh yeah, see Mr. Drumpf. 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 We're going to war. Little drummer boy. That's where that name comes from. He is named for a war drum. Imagine that, a battle drum, a trump card. But that's still not the simple reason why I know he's not going to protect you from Islamic extremism. One word is all I need to prove it to you. One word, that's it. That word is anti-Semitism. All of this has happened before, 100 years ago, just like I told you. And just like I told you 100 years ago, Russia sent their puppet to the greatest nation on earth, to the beacon of unity for the world, where blacks could serve in the government, by the way, in Germany. In fact, blacks were going to be allowed, represented from the colonial areas of Germany, into the German parliament in Berlin, okay, and get a vote on German proper laws from the colonies, okay, and raging against that, okay, That was too much for the Hitler supporters to handle. That's what happened, babies. That's what happened. But there was a large group in Germany, therefore, that they were in opposition against. A large group in Germany pre-war that wanted the black people from the colonies, where black and white people got along just fine, by the way. Germany was one of the first states to ban slavery, by the way. Salt and pepper, by the way. Hitler was sent to divide everybody. Hitler was sent to give them a national sense of pride, to make America great again. Wait, Germany. Oh, shit. Gonna save you from Muslims. But he, like them, has conspired to make you hate the Jews. No, the Israelis. The 12 tribes from all over the world, whether they know they are of the different tribes or not, whether they admit it or not because of fear of being hunted, I don't know. I don't know what's going on this day. I am not of this day. But I seem to understand it better than so many of you. He's going to save you from Islamic extremism. He's going to save you from the Muslims. While hating the Jews. You don't see a problem with that? You haven't learned enough from the alt-right propaganda about how deceptive Islamic extremists can be to see this wolf in hamster skin or sheep's clothing? See, there's a phrase I coined, and it might understand the level of truth and the level of pleading that it took to get people to realize that there was an empire of child enslavers that was controlling their government, okay, in Palestine 2,000 years ago. And it was taking over that portion of the Roman Empire after the death of Julius Caesar, the Old Father. Funny how John was called that, too. And yeah, it would take about that many people with knives to take me down. Why did he ride with the Gauls? Why was Galilee his outpost in the center of the world at Palestine? It wasn't royalty. He was a revolutionary. In fact, it may have been Spartacus. That just sounds sillier than I need to sound because obviously I don't have time to tell those stories to put them in context for you. But give you an idea of the lengths they had to go to cover up my existence. You know, there's a reason why Merlin's wand is sitting on my shelf over there. But you didn't know. Dismiss me all you want. Ignore the possibility that somebody might be smarter than you. But you thought somebody who was anti-Semitic was going to save you from the big bad Muslims. Fucking idiots!